We like that. Woo!
What's good, everybody? Welcome to the Pull Up Show. My name is BJ Matthews, aka B Jizzle. Before we get started, follow us on the YouTube page, the Pull Up Basketball Podcast, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Twitter, TikTok, the Pull Up Basketball Podcast. Like, share, subscribe, all of our YouTube videos before you get to this house. Let's get it popping. All right, like I said, you know what I'm saying, before y'all, enter in, go ahead, hit that like button, comment, you know what I'm saying, share with your friends, family, other basketball savants and basketball heads. Go ahead and share the basketball podcast to pull up, you know what I'm saying, the hottest, newest basketball podcast out there. I appreciate all the subscribers, all the love on the page. Let's get it going. All right, my man plays for keeps says salute, BJ, salute, my man. We got a good show for y'all tonight, man, a very good show. Um, the NBA Finals is set to take off tomorrow between the Boston Celtics and the Golden State Warriors in the Bay Area. So it's going to be an electrifying matchup between these two. We hear all the sports shows talking about it. These two electrifying teams, Golden State, the high offense juggernaut, you know what I'm saying, the well accomplished, well oiled machine team that's won, multiple championships, been to the final 6 out of 10 years. Um, well experienced, been through every situation possible, have beaten every team you can think of, being all-time great players against the new, formerly known Boston Celtics, who are gritty, who are hungry, who's well coached, who's led by two of their guys in Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, with a bunch of other dogs, right, on the Boston Celtics team. So it's going to definitely be a very high collision course between these two teams. And anytime you talk about the NBA Finals, really, it's a time where basically the sports world is having your eyes on it, right? Because this is the time for basketball. It's basketball time. You have football season, you have baseball season, hockey season is going on right now. But for the most part in America, basketball is what's on the sports shows and on these the television screens at home. You know what I'm saying? So this is what we're keying in. So nonetheless, let's get into it. All right. So I got a question for y'all, man. Um, with the NBA Finals going on right now, with the Golden State Warriors about to face off against the Boston Celtics, everybody understands what it means to have a legacy. And when you talk about having people in this situation, there's going to be legacies that's going to be either one or two directions. They're going to either be revived or be tarnished, right? And when I talk about legacies, it's basically, a subject where you're talking about guys who have been in the league a certain period of time and they have to continue to update their resume. You know what I'm saying? They have to continuously update their resume and they have to continuously, try to reinvent history, right? And the subject we're going to talk about tonight that's been brewing around, a lot of these sports shows is Steph Curry. If they win a championship, the Golden State Warriors I'm talking about wins a championship this season, does that put Steph Curry in the top 10 of all time? I'm going to ask the question again. If the Golden State Warriors win the 2022 NBA championship, right, does that put Steph Curry, the babyface assassin, the greatest three-point shooter of all time, does that put him in the top 10 NBA all-time list? All right. And by the end of this video, you guys will know if I choose to put Steph Curry in that company. So let's get it going. So first thing I'll do, I want to give my criteria of how I rank my top 10 players of all time. All right, so let me just bring out the criteria. Now, when we talk about the criteria, first thing for me is always the number one thing is the resume. So just like anything, you have to have some type of history or some type of resume to kind of qualify your position. Just like any job that you might be at, anytime you go to work, they want to know what they want to know. They want to know your resume. They want to know where you worked at previously. They want to know what your skills are. They want to know what experience you have. Very important to have a resume in anything that you do, and that's just life, not just basketball, not just sports. So same thing with in the NBA. Your resume is very important. Like how basically do you match up with other people based off of your resume? And, I'm talking about championships. I'm talking about MVPs. I'm talking about NBA Finals MVPs. I'm talking about All-Star games. I'm talking about all NBA teams, all defensive teams, all rookie, all that stuff. I'm talking about all that good stuff, all defensive teams and steals, leaders, and everything on the criteria list, whether it's individual or team. That's your resume. That's the first thing I look at for anything. We talk about all NBA champion, all NBA time great players, right? The second thing I look at is your impact. How do you control the game? Basically, your impact, not just you as an individual player, but on your team. How do you impact the game? Period. Are you a player that other teams game plan for a consistent basis? Are you the number one option? Do you make your teammates better? Are you a leader? Are you leading your team with wins? Are you leading your team with championships? Are you leading your team with, what I'm saying, success? The impact that you have on your teammates as well as the opponents. That's why I look at second. Okay, because that ties into who you are as an individual player and how you rub off on your teammates. The good players make themselves better. The great players make their teammates better, right? And you can make your teammates better a number of ways. It doesn't. A lot of times, I think people think making your teammates better means passing them the ball and what I'm saying, like get them good looks. You can make your teammates better just by just making them believe in a better version of themselves, greater version of themselves. Look at Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler in the playoffs, I feel like he made his teammates better. He empowered them and made them believe that they were better than what they actually were. They were tougher than they actually were. And then you saw the results of them almost beating a very, very talented Boston team in 7 games. In DM, like D said, yes. He also said only if he wins. Yep. We're going to get into all that, brother. So, yeah, your impact to me, it can be based off your scoring, your rebounding, how you replenish your teammates. It can be a number of things to make your teammates better. That's very important when you talk about these top 10 players that I'm about to name. Second, the third thing, skill set and physical attributes, very important. Your skill set, how are you good on offense? Your shooting, your passing, your dribbling, your shot creativity, your blocking shots on defense, steals, defensive awareness, physical attributes, your size, your length, your athleticism, things that you can do like just basically on a natural level. You know what I'm saying? Just you as an individual player by the eye test. That's a better way of saying the eye test. When I watch you play and I see you on the basketball court, what do I see? It's kind of like you trying to scout a player for the first time. That's why they have, NBA scouts. They go out there and actually watch these players. They just don't look at a stat sheet and say, hey, this player's, averages 25 points, 6 rebounds and 5 assists on like 45, 46% shooting. They actually go out there and watch it. They actually go watch the player with their own eyes to see, I'm saying, okay, well, he has a good, nice jumper. He has, good awareness. He has good IQ and good vision. I'm saying? He can jump out the gym or he has quick hands. Like these things, these tools that people, see with their own eyes, it pays difference of how great of a player you are. Right. Also I look at the dominance and competition. Right. So these two tie into one another because you can't just have one without having the other because dominance, yeah, that's good. But, who are you facing your competition? And then you look at the competition. If you're not dominating it, then it also strikes against you as well. So they tie in 2 and 2. And some of these players on this top 10 list, I'm not gonna, even, include like, these other lists because the competition and dominance doesn't match. If you're in an era where you're dominating your opposing team, but the competition is obviously not, really, eye popping, then it's hard for me to really rank you because you're basically taking advantage of what's in front of you. Now, it's not their fault. You play, the players in front of you, but I mean, we're talking about the top 10 list, and this is just my criteria and, how I rank them. Because if the person has a different playing field than you, I mean, how fair is it to, compare? It's not really, even playing field, right? But you gotta dominate the competition that's in front of you. That's very important. Like, multiple seasons. How are you, in your statistics? How are you in dominating as on a team? How are you, period? You know what I mean? So They all tie into one another. Now, let me go ahead and pull up the top 10 players, mostly on a lot of people's lists, right? And basically how you choose to rank them is how you choose to rank them. But for the most part, these are the top 10 players on the majority of people's lists, right? And let me just go ahead and just say this. There's a couple people on this list already that I do not choose to put on because of the reason I just named about the last criteria, and that's the dominance in competition. One person I choose not to put in is Mr. Bill Russell. Now, as great as Bill Russell is, as much of a pioneer he is, and we have to give him credit because really he's somebody that if he wasn't playing or he wasn't in the basketball history, a lot of these players right now will not have what they have. He's the one that took he was on the front lines and actually started the movement. And this just goes beyond basketball. This just as just as a person. You talk about the way things were back in the 50s and 60s, where we're just trying to cross color barriers, and how they're trying to make a name for black players. Like, this was the pioneer, this is the grandfather, this is the person that set the tone. So I feel like he's in the category of his own. Like, I think that I don't even put him with these modern day players like from the 70s and beyond, because if the game was so much different, times were different, the number of teams were different, and it's very difficult to rank him. You know what I'm saying? I kind of put him on his own little island. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was averaging, I believe, 22 rebounds a game. I mean, I had to go back and look at film just to see who was he playing against, and it was just very clear that the competition was not. It was different. You had a few years where it was similar, where they play Wilt Chamberlain, other players like that, but for the most part, the game was just so much different. There was times that they only had like 4 teams in the playoffs. Now, people of the older days may say, well, that's because they only allowed the elite players to play. But I mean, that's just kind of it's just too much silver lining ranking guys like Bill Russell, because it was just a different time. You know what I mean? So, man has 11 championships, more rings than he does have fingers, and he's the grandfather of the basketball movement. And I kind of just let it be that, man, because I mean, when you start ranking players before the modern day era, it makes it very difficult and very tricky. NDM, like D said, this guy had Bill. I mean, it's tough. It's tough having Bill in there, man, because for one, most of us, we didn't even see him play. And when we do look at the film, it's kind of like you could just tell the difference of how the game was. I put Mr. Russell in his own category. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's hard just to rank him because the game was just so much different. Right? Another person I choose to leave out the top 10 out of respect is Wilt Chamberlain. Now, Wilt Chamberlain is probably the most dominant player of all time. Probably the most dominant. Right? Because this man, forget just being a basketball player, this dude was just an overall great athlete. Talking to a person that can, bench press, I think they said around 500 pounds, who had like a fast 40 time, who can play shot put, who had like a 40-something inch vertical. I mean, just not even basketball. He was just a great all-around athlete, just like LeBron. But he probably was just as more athletic and more gifted as LeBron. Bill Russell had him saying he was the greatest basketball player he's ever seen. You know what I'm saying? So, just watching, I remember watching one of his clips where he actually blocked the shot, grabbing in midair. Like, he snatched it out the air when somebody tried to shoot the ball. And I'm just like, wow. Dude, 7'2", just as strong as he was, fast, quick. Like, there was nothing that you can do. Ran like a horse. I mean, the only person I can compare to him is LeBron, and I think he was just as more physically gifted as LeBron, right? So him scoring that 100-point game and then averaging, I think he averaged like 25 rebounds a game. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, again, just a different time. Not to say, and let me just make this very clear, all these great players can play any era. right? But it's very tough ranking players of that time and putting them in with these guys in the modern day era. It's very tough. So I leave Mr. Russell and Mr. Chamberlain out my top 10. Soccer update. Salute, my man. Salute, salute. All right. So let's get into the top 10 players who I do have to put in there, man. And I'm going to open the lines and let y'all talk a little bit too. Now, if we're talking about Steph Curry, how he ranks up against the rest of these players. Now let's go. Let me just reiterate the criteria. I look at four things. I look at your resume, how many your awards that you have, individually, MVPs, championships, NBA Finals MVPs, all defensive team, all NBA teams. I look at your impact, how you affect the game on, just not with your teammates, but also against the opposing teams. Are you game plan for, every single night? How do you impact the game? Skill set and physical attributes, right? You know what I'm saying? Your ball handling skills, shooting skills, passing, defensive skills, and then your physical attributes, like how you can jump, how quick you are, how athletic you are, stuff like that. Dominance in competition, basically who you played against and how you dominate. So that's the four criteria. Now, if we talk about Steph Curry comparing to these other players, I want y'all to first notice that Steph Curry, he's the smallest guy on this list. Steph Curry is not an imposing player. He's only 6'3", which now 6'3" is actually above average for the normal human man. But for basketball, that's actually pretty small. Now, if you look at him compared to all these other players, these other guys are like 6'6" and up. I think the next tallest player is Jordan, then Kobe. The rest of these guys are like 6'9", 6'8", 7 feet, 7'2", 7'1". Like these guys are, gigantic, and that's how we usually measure our athletes. We expect them to be like, almost an anomaly. So when they see this Steph Curry kid, with the baby face, the light skin, the small fragile frame, and him being 6'3", I think people kind of like snuff at him being a top 10 player. I'm just gonna be honest, because if you look at his resume, I mean, his resume is just as good as a couple of these players on his list, right? If you look at his resume, I mean, actually, not on this list, but I could tell you a couple players that are ranked around top 10 that has a better resume, like Oscar Robertson. He has a better resume than Oscar Robertson. He has more championships, more Finals MVPs, more All NBAs. I'm sorry. He has a steal championship. He's dominated his competition more. He has just as good as skills as Oscar Robertson. He's obviously a better shooter, better ball handler. Oscar Robertson was a better passer. Defender was Oscar Robertson, but it's very neck and neck. And then you talk about Steph Curry, his impact, he's top two, probably in my opinion, of all time, next to Michael Jordan. I think Steph Curry has influenced the game more than any other players outside of Michael Jordan. But most of this stuff doesn't get talked about because Steph Curry just have his frame and him being more of a smaller guy. I think people just overlook him. I'm just going to be completely honest. So if I look at some of these players on this list, let me look at somebody like a Shaquille O'Neal. Now, Shaq, if I look at the resume for Steph Curry, let me first name out the accomplishments Steph Curry has. He's been in the league for 13 seasons, 8 All NBA, eight-time NBA All-Star, 2-time scoring champ, 3-time NBA champ, 8-time All NBA player, All Rookie, 2-time MVP, 1-time All-Star MVP, and also a a steals champion in 15-16. So if I look at Shaquille O'Neal, his statistics and his resume, he's a 15-time All-Star, 2-time scoring champ, 4-time NBA champ, 14-time All-NBA, 3-time All-Defensive, 3-time Finals MVP. So his resume, Shaquille O'Neal blows Steph Curry's out the water outside the championships, right? So you can't really put him over Shaquille O'Neal. You can't really put him over Kobe because Kobe has the 5 championships as well as, more All-NBA or more All-Defensive teams. stuff like that. Um, it's very tough to put him over pretty much anybody on this list because right now, even if you say okay, he's gonna have 4 championships, well, like I said, you have to also look at the other areas. You gotta look at the MVPs, you gotta look at the All Stars, you gotta look at the All NBA teams, you gotta look at the All Defensive teams, and all these guys on this list have more individually than Steph Curry, right? But if you add a championship, that'll make him 4 championships, and that'll make him a with a Finals MVP. Then he'll pretty much have everything on checked off on the list, right? But if you're talking about me putting him in the top 10 at this point, if I remove Bill Russell and Wilt Chamberlain out because of the respect that I have and I don't put him in my top 10, yes, he becomes a top 10 player all the time. I could put him at number 10, especially if they win a championship. Because y'all got to think of the story as well. Golden State, they were not winning championships until Steph Curry got there. I think Wilt Chamberlain was a player in Golden State. They didn't win a championship there. Before Steph Curry got there, like Golden State was not a very, very high commodity for basketball. You had Baron Davis, Monta Ellis, you had Chris Mullins and Tim Hardaway in the 90s, Mitch Richmond in the 90s. But Golden State, nobody was coming there to, really change the culture. If you ask Warrior fans, they believe Steph Curry is as great as he is because of what he did for the franchise, how he changed it, the championships they won. Like, that's their guy. So the respect and admiration for him in Golden State goes up because of what he meant to this organization. If you look at his skill sets and physical attributes, he's not the fastest player out there. He's not the most athletic. He's not the most, he ain't the biggest, but he maximizes the things that he can do. Steph Curry is actually a pretty average defender, quiet as kept. He had led the league in steals. He is not a bad defender. He actually does try on defense. And of course, his offense is off the charts. His shooting is, greatest shooter of all time. He's a very elite ball handler, and he's also a very, very good passer. So he has all the skills. He can finish at the basket. Highly efficient, right? Let me go through some of these comments. Doesn't help either when Steph just talks about him as just a shooter. Yeah, it doesn't. And that's just the problem. Like, this is all a narrative that they put on Steph Curry. That Steph Curry is just somebody that goes out there and shoots. Steph Curry can't play defense. Steph Curry is slow, does blah, blah, blah. But if you look at the statistics and if you look at his game with the eye test, he literally can do everything. He can literally do everything on the court. But that's just narrative that gets out there. Jerry West, he's a Jerry West. And also crazy part too, I have Jerry West in my top 15 right now. But Jerry West gets dismissed a lot too, as that, just be honest, just another white guy. But if you look at his statistics, Jerry West actually averaged more points, just as much points as Kevin Durant. He's right at 27 points per game. It's because of him losing all them finals to a Boston team that was just basically winning in his time. People kind of just disrespect Jerry West. But that's what you got to know the game and knowing what you're talking about, do your research to, actually understand how great these players are. You can put him over Kobe if he wins this year. You have to grade Kobe as a man from 04 to 13, and Steph matches up with that. Nah. Because you gotta look at it like this. Steph's been in the league for, this is his 12th season. This is his 13th season right now. So if I can't put him from 04 to 13 because that only has Kobe only has 9 years. You gotta let him go from 2000 to 2013. And if Kobe's 2013 is more accomplished than Steph's, as an individual player, as a more dominant player, his resume, what he can do on the court. I mean, he's just an overall better player than Steph, and he's just more accomplished outside the MVPs. Um, now I remember there was a list out not too long ago where they were talking about Steph Curry was ahead of Kobe Bryant. This was before he won his third championship. So I never really bought into a lot of these, Sports Illustrated and stuff like that when they talk about lists because they have a vendetta against Kobe. ESPN, they all have a vendetta against Kobe. They had David Robinson and Steph Curry over him. So, I mean, when it comes to these lists, I'm very, very peculiar who I take really notice of because I know the bias against Kobe. Epic Play said this is a question. He already is in the top 10. I mean, it just depends. Some people will have Oscar Robertson over Steph Curry. Some people have Jerry West over Steph Curry. Some people put Steph Curry in the top 12, top 13. I mean, I think Steph Curry, he has a chance to do it, but it's not solidified and sealed. Because what if they lose the finals? Does that put Steph Curry below? Does that drop him down? Because you got to think, just like he can move up, he can also drop. You know what I mean? So, um, if I look at this list again, I don't put him over Shaquille O'Neal. I don't put him over Kareem Magic. I don't put him over those. Those are top five players to me. Tim Duncan, I do not put him over Tim Duncan. Larry Bird, no. I mean, and that's actually a good comparison as well, Larry Bird, because he actually finished his career within 13 seasons, and that's where Steph Curry is right now. But if I look at Larry Bird's resume, he's a 12-time All-Star, more than Steph Curry's eight, three-time NBA champ, same as Steph Curry right now, 10-time All-NBA, which is Steph Curry's eight-time, three-time MVP to Steph's two-time. Larry has two Finals MVPs to Steph's zero. Larry Bird has, check this out, three-time All Defensive teams in Larry Bird. And I think Steph doesn't have any, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, he doesn't have any all defensive team. So Larry Bird's a overall better player than Steph Curry with more championships and more MVPs. And even if he wins one this year, he won't be as accomplished. So, I mean, I'm trying to find a space for Steph. You're not putting him over Tim Duncan. You're not putting over LeBron. You're damn sure not putting over Jordan or Kobe. And Hakeem, he can be. He's in the top. He's in the back end of that top 10. But I mean, if you look at Hakeem's resume, he has more All NBA teams with uh with 12-time All Star, 9-time All Defensive player, 12-time All NBA, 2-time Defensive player. Like it's just a lot for Steph to catch up to. I don't think a championship alone would just put him over these guys. But if I remove Wilt Chamberlain and Bill Russell, then I can put him in there. So what does he have to do to get into the top 10 without, removing anybody? He's going to have to, because it's tough because he's already 33 years old. If they was able to win 2 more championships with Steph before he retires, then that's when it becomes the individual accolades of these players kind of go away a little bit. Because just having 5 championships, there's only 4 other players in NBA history who's done that. That's Jordan, that's Tim Duncan, that's Kobe, and that's Bill Russell, and that's Magic. So if Steph Curry was able to get 5 championships, then we talking about he's in a different special class of his own. But there's other players who's had 4 championships, and more. You have LeBron, you have Shaquille O'Neal, you know what I'm saying, who has 4. Kareem has 6 as well. Kareem has 6. So he's gonna have to do some individual stuff, man, like to get to that level. And I don't even think, and I'm not even sure people will still put him in that category that company, because again, people just do not, for whatever reason, they just don't see Steph Curry as a top 10 player, just based off of just his frame, just how he looks, him being a smaller player. I mean, they just don't put him in that light, and no matter what he'll do, he won't ever be in that light. NDM is like I said, I disagree. He's a better overall player than Kobe. The only thing Kobe has him on defense. man, you gotta think Kobe he's a more better scorer than Steph. He's a better finisher at the rim than Steph. Um, Steph, of course, is the better passer because Kobe is a shooting guard. Steph's been a point guard. And defense is big. Like again, Kobe's a 12-time All NBA defensive player. Right? He has 9 all defensive first teams and 3 all defensive second team. That's a big deal. Kobe's just an overall better, bigger player than Steph Curry individually. That's not even a question. The only case you can make for Steph is if it's a resume thing with the championships. But as far as being a better player, overall player, like if I look at my eye test, it's Kobe all day. Definitely Kobe. Epic places, I put him over Hakeem, and it could be a good argument over Larry Bird. Like I said, man. I mean, I wouldn't argue it because again, I think, Steph Curry, if he wins this championship, he'll definitely be top 2 point guard of all time next to Magic. That's not a debate. I'll put him over Isaiah Thomas. I'll put him over John Stockton. I'll put him over Jason Kidd. Steph Curry will be a top 2 point guard of all time. Jetty Perry said, "What did you think of them trying to erase Kobe's legacy?" Oh, bro, it's expected, man. I don't really pay attention to that, man. I really just think that I know the game. I know how they try to, erase Kobe's legacy. It started all with that whole thing in Eco, Colorado, where he was accused of that rape charge, and since then they've been trying to erase Kobe Bryant's legacy. But the real ones know what Kobe meant to the game, and I think if he had more of a backing from the media, then he would not be looked at so below in the all-time rankings. And I think that's just facts. I don't think that he would be so low in the rankings if his legacy and his image was so tarnished. So that's just expected, bro. But I dropped the link. Anybody want to come here and discuss this subject, because I think it's definitely an interesting subject. You guys gotta remember too what Steph's able to do at his size. Like he wasn't even supposed to be in this position, man. Like I remember there's a video when I think somewhere in the mid 2010s where like a commercial dropped Steph Curry's scouting report, and they were like talking about all the things that the scouts were saying about Steph Curry. Like he was not a great athlete, an average point guard, not a first round pick, doesn't have the physical tools to, carry this team. Like he just pretty much all the negative stuff you hear about Steph Curry. Like he's just not that imposing player. And then he read all them things one by one. And that's when, I guess he used that for motivation, like the greats do. They never gave Kobe his respect until he died. Like, yeah, that's how the game is, man. That's how the game is. They don't love you until you in the ground, man. That's how the game goes, bro. But the real ones know how great Kobe is. And the thing about Kobe is they try to use analytics to justify their point, man. Like they try to use analytics, and you're gonna use analytics so much, you gotta use your eyes at some point, bro. You can't just use numbers to solidify a point. That's why my criteria is the way it is. I have to use all things to try to make a point. What's good, Bubba?
What's good, bro?
Man, it's good just talking about this subject, man. It's a hot topic. What you got?
Yeah, I mean, Steph Curry being a top 10 player, I mean, that's an argument that an individual can make, yeah, but to me personally, I feel like he has to get 2 more to be in the top 10. Because, like all these players you got up here, these are like, players that you can't take out of the top 10 and replace with Steph Curry, considering their resumes.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's why I was saying, like, I was struggling to find a place for Steph. It's just tough. Even if he wins a championship, you gotta look at the individual accolades. You gotta look at the All NBA team. You gotta look at the All Defensive teams. You gotta look at the championships. You gotta look at the Finals MVPs and the MVPs. You gotta look at all those, and all these guys got multiple of all those things I named, and Steph don't have. He doesn't have those accolades, and just by the eye test, the physical attributes, stuff like that. I mean, look at the size of these players compared to Steph Curry.
Yeah, he's a little guy.
Yeah, and I think that's why people don't want to they hesitate to put Steph Curry in that company. And unfair as it is, I think that's what it is, in my opinion. BCAJ7 said, I don't know who you would take out the top 10 for Curry, to be honest. I guess it just depends on who you use top. Yeah, that's where it comes down to, bro. That's what it comes down to. And like Bubba just said, you can't take out any of these dudes. You can't.
It's tough.
I mean, who are you gonna remove? Who are you gonna remove out the top 10 out this list? I already removed Bill Russell and Wilt. I mean, you can put Steph Curry like that, but I mean, you'll get some people be like, "Oh, why you gotta move them out the way?" And even if I move them out the way, still that makes 11 players, including Steph. So I mean, you still outside the top 10.
Yeah, I mean, somebody could make the argument that he has surpassed Hakeem.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just tough.
Exactly, that's what somebody just said.
You could take Akeem out the top 10 to me. I mean, just look at and I got it pulled up right here. Akeem's a 12-time All-Star. Steph Curry's an 8-time.
Yep.
Akeem is 12-time All-NBA. Steph's 8.
Yep.
Akeem's a 9-time All-Defensive player. All-Defensive team players. Steph Curry has 0.
Dang.
Akeem has 2 Defensive Players of the Years. To Steph 0. Akeem's 2-time Finals MVP to Steph 0. So, and just from the statistic wise, I mean, he's averaging 21, 11 career wise off of 51% shooting. So he's a two-way player, and his physical attributes and his skill set, and literally, there was nothing that Akeem couldn't do on the court. I mean, he can, post up, he can shoot the mid-range shot, he can shoot the fadeaway shot. He was the most skilled big man of all time.
Right.
So it's like, I mean, I could take him out, but you're gonna get some backlash for that one too. It's not like, oh, okay, Steph wins a championship, you're gonna just take Akeem out. I mean, it ain't that easy. It definitely isn't that easy.
Yeah.
He said everyone's saying that Akeem doesn't realize he may be he is.
He is. Yep.
He's definitely the best big skill man. He's more skilled than Shaq, more skilled than Kareem, more skilled than Bill Russell, Wilt Chamberlain. Like, he's the best skilled big man of all time. In DM, like he said, gotta remove Kobe, man. He's more impactful, greatest on aspect, changed the game, more MVPs, face of a dime. We want to sue that the man like Kobe and his peak was better. Nah, bro. Kobe's higher than Akeem. Like, how can I move? How can I remove Kobe before I remove Akeem, bro? Like, to say he's more impactful, okay, let's look at this. He's impactful on the one side of the ball. Kobe's impactful on both sides. Dude won 12 times. He's 12-time all-defensive team. And you got to think of the time Kobe was playing in, bro, like where the defense were much tougher. The dude was literally averaging 35 points a game in those type of defenses.
Yeah.
I mean, look at the defenses now compared to those the 2000s. The era that Kobe played was arguably the most physical era of all time. So you're talking about who's more impactful. Look at the defenses that the matchups they put on Kobe Bryant. Like, defenses are more worried about him than Steph Curry. You know what I'm saying? And you talk about the chips. Kobe has 5 championships to Steph Curry's 4. His peak wasn't better than Kobe Bryant's. I don't know how his peak was better when Kobe had more better individual statistics. It's just that his team wasn't as good. Go back and look at those LA teams, in 05 to like 07. Like, those teams didn't even have – those guys had guys like Smush Parker, Lamar Odom, Kwame Brown on that team. He drugged them to the playoffs in the Western Conference. Steph Curry had a poor team last year, didn't make the playoffs. So that should tell you who can do more for their team.
Yeah, who does more with less?
Yeah, definitely it's Kobe. He does more. He's a bigger, and that's just how it is. When you're a bigger player, that you can just do more for your teammate on both sides. I mean, as just a basketball player, Kobe just can do more than Steph Curry.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, and I'm looking at
But wait, let's look at this at the other way around. What if he loses this finals? Does he drop?
Yeah. I think that's what I was saying too. I was like, this can go south too.
Right.
It can be like if Steph loses this finals, because you remember this before, and this is before he won that they lost to Cleveland that year. After they won their first title and Steph, had that historic season in 2016, they were already saying that he was better than Isaiah Thomas.
Yeah.
Then they go up and lose that 3-1 series, and everybody want to retract their statement. And then he becomes Steph Curry's a choker in the playoffs. Steph Curry's a choker in the finals and all this stuff because they were just, they were premature too easily. You know what I'm saying? They were talking too much too easily. So it can definitely go south. BCA87 said, if Magic wasn't on this list, Kobe would be the highest Laker in this hell. If Magic wasn't there, Kobe is the... Yeah, I mean, Kobe's top 5 for me. I'm not removing Kobe Bryant. I'm not removing him off my list, period. Steph literally made a G League player a household name. Was it Steph that made... I mean, let's ask this question, a better question. What is Steph Curry without Klay Thompson?
I always say this. I always ask this question.
Let's ask that question for a second. Let's think a little deeper. What has Steph Curry done without Klay Thompson? Because we've seen what Kobe has done without Shaq. Remember the whole notion was Kobe couldn't win without Shaquille O'Neal?
Yep, and he went back to back.
Went back to back and won, and went to the finals 3 times in his career.
3 times. Yep.
On top of that, he's the only player. He didn't have a top 75 player on that team. Pau Gasol, he's not a top 75 player.
Nah, a Hall of Famer. Yep, not top 75.
Yeah, Pau Gasol was nothing before he came to the Lakers, man. He was a good skilled player, but Pau Gasol was looked at as being soft. You know what I mean? So when people say, well, what's Kobe without? I mean, even Pau talked about this, bro. He said Kobe's the reason why I'm the person I am in my career. Like that's what Pau came out of his own mouth. He understands, like, without Kobe Bryant, Pau wouldn't even have a career like that. Like, nobody was looking for Pau at that, and that's no disrespect to him, but it's just like, I mean, there's no Pau without Kobe Bryant.
Right.
So, I mean, that's something that we can't use, man, because Pau Gasol is not on a level of Kobe, so it's not even a discussion. My man said Herm said he's not a top 10. But what if he wins this year, Herm? If they win a championship, where do you put Steph? Percy still feel Curry need to win a title and finals MVP for we should. Yeah. And that's just a conversation. Like, that's not even a definite. So, like he said, he has to win a champion. He has to win a championship and an MVP, finals MVP to even get there. He said Steph made Klay. That's why he keeps it. No, the Golden State made Klay, man. I mean, again, Steph had the opportunity to show. First of all, this goes back even before Klay even got on the team, when Steph wasn't even making any runs in the playoffs. He didn't make the playoffs. before Klay got there.
Yeah.
You didn't even make the playoffs. And when you had your own team in 2020, you didn't make the playoffs. You were a playing team.
Yep.
So, I mean, I'm waiting to see what has Steph Curry done without Klay Thompson. I'll put him in top 15. He went. That's fair. That's fair. And it's not just Klay, it's Draymond too. They have to have a trio to work together. But let me see. Do you feel like Tim Duncan is the most underrated player of all time?
Bro, he definitely is. He definitely is. I mean, winning a championship in your second year and Finals MVP, and not getting the recognition that some of these guys on this list get. I mean, we put Magic on this pedestal because part of his resume, he won a championship as a rookie and Finals MVP. Had a game
Mm,
of his career as a rookie when he started center when Kareem was hurt. We put him on this pedestal, but that's not the same for Tim Duncan. I mean, I don't know. I think maybe because he was a power forward, maybe,
yeah,
and he's not really a great scorer. So
I think Tim Duncan is he's one of the greatest leaders of all time. Because if you look at him and his resume, I mean his resume is crazy because
it is.
he has 15. He's a 15-time All Defensive player and a 15-time All NBA player. That's sick.
Yep.
And you got the 5 championships. And really, if we're gonna be honest, bro, he should be 6-0. He should be up there just with Michael Jordan.
Michael, right?
6 championships with 0 losses, but that one, lucky shot by Ray Allen canceled all that out.
Yeah. You think if he had won 6, he'd be top 5, maybe possibly top 4.
Oh yeah. I would put him. I would now that would be a conversation. I would put him over Kobe. I think, and I would understand people putting Tim Duncan over Kobe. I do, but it's tough because they play different positions.
Right.
Or I'll put him over Magic Johnson, or I'll put him over, Blase. But you know, Tim, yeah, if he was 6-0, man, you can make the case. Yeah, he would definitely be top 5. I have number 6 right now, but he'd definitely be top 5. He said he got hurt late in the season, and they went, as a G League team, and got them into the AFC. Those playing games, he was doubled and couldn't do it. But that's my point, bro. Are you great or are you not? You say that he got doubled. Kobe used to get tripled. He used to be getting triple teamed.
Yeah.
That's what we saying. Like it's a different beast. When you're 6'3" with limited athletic ability, and you compare it to a guy who's 6'6", who has supreme athletic ability, you can do more things. You can get away with more things. Like Steph can't get away with things that Kobe could. That's why I'm saying he's a more spectacular player. Nothing to take away from Steph, but he's just that he can't do as much as Kobe can. Let's see something else. Let me ask you a different question. Where do you have LeBron ranked?
I have LeBron as my 4th.
You got him 4th?
I got him 4th, yeah. I got Michael, I got Kareem, I got Kobe, and I got LeBron at number 4. Now he could move up because his career is not over yet. If he, I mean, he's going into year 20. If he can win a championship, and obviously he's going to definitely pass Kareem probably next season. Yeah, he could definitely move up.
But what do you? So what does that? So does that put LeBron in a different light if he passes Kareem in scoring? Does that help him in the all-time rankings?
Scoring alone, I'll say no, because that's longevity. That's a longevity thing. He got to get the championship as well. Because Kobe has more, Kareem has more, and Michael has more. So
Yeah, I got LeBron number 4 too. I got Mike, I got Kareem, I got Kobe, I got LeBron, and I got Magic, and I got Tim Duncan, and Larry Bird, then Hakeem, then Shaq, and then number 10. I don't know. Like, I mean, I guess I could put Steph Curry if he wins it. Um, I don't know. It's just gonna be interesting, bro, because it can go either one or two ways. He can either lose his spot or he can gain an extra spot.
right. But wait, what if he wins the championship but is not Finals MVP?
Oh, that's a good question, actually, because I don't want to see that happen again. I think they will. I don't think they'll let that happen. I think if the Warriors win the championship this year, because if you look at their roster from top to bottom, who else could win the Finals MVP?
Bro, I'm telling you, Andrew Wiggins is a dark horse with his playing two-way.
Oh yeah, you're right, and especially if he somewhat shuts down Jason Tatum or contains him,
Yep. Yeah,
yeah,
continue.
yeah, he definitely can get there if he. I just don't see it because it's like look at it like this.
Bro,
Steph
nobody.
lost. He
Go
lost
ahead.
his. He lost the finals in 15 to Andre Iguodala, and then both those years with Kevin Durant, it's just like a fourth time. I don't think it would happen honestly. He said I got LeBron number 1, and I'll accept
Except
number.
two.
I just don't. I mean, for the people who got LeBron number 1, Epic Place can help me out.
4 and
What?
6.
That's all I have to really say. Like that 4 and 6 just rubs me the wrong way, bro. Like I can't. I've never been that one to just look at stats and say, okay, that makes you the best of all time. He just had too many big moments where he flamed out, bro. Like kind of like Will Chamberlain. I can't put him number 1 ever just because he's flamed out in big moments.
Yeah, he's 2 and 4.
Yeah, they're physically gifted, physically talented more than anybody else on the court, but they have like a habit of, flaming out in big moments. I can't give you that over guys like Michael, guys like, Kobe, Tim, Magic, who are winners in those type of moments.
Right.
He said Bron not top 10. Oh my gosh. Yeah, he don't like Bron. I'm not the biggest Bron fan either, but I mean that man top 10 for sure.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yep.
I don't care how much you don't like Bron, he top 10. Epic Play said to me the finals MVP does nothing for Steph. Okay.
But you can't be a top 10 player without the Finals MVP.
That's fair. That's fair. That's why I think so many people question
Then
it now.
Robert Horry should be top 10 because he's 8-0 with no Finals MVPs.
Yeah. Yeah, I got you. I got Steph 11 right now on my list.
Well, you have Steph over Kevin Durant.
Yeah. If he wins this championship, I'll have him over. This is why I say greatest and best. Like best, like it's like you as an individual player. Like no, Steph Curry is not a better player than Kevin Durant, but you're talking about greater as far as legacy and as far as resume. The way he has this Golden State team looking, um, uh, that he's led a dynasty, man. And Kevin Durant, he leaves in Brooklyn and they can't get it done. So it's like it makes you look very, very suspect and bad out here. So I would have to put Steph over KD, man. Like no question, no question. Finals MVP. Bruce Marco said Finals MVP is like Super Bowl MVP. It's irrelevant.
Wait, it shows up. Bro, you can go ahead. I thought you were about to say something.
No, go ahead.
Now I was gonna say, the Finals MVP shows how dominant you were in the finals. Like, were you just a role player, or were you a great player in that series? You know.
I kind of get what he mean though, because this is the same argument people use for Kobe and Shaq, and this is why they get it mixed up. They said, well, Shaq won 3 Finals MVPs, so that makes it all his team, and Kobe was just a psychic. Not remembering and not forgetting that throughout the season in the playoffs, there was times where Kobe was carrying the team, especially in the conference finals when they played teams like Portland, Sacramento, and San Antonio. A lot of times Kobe would carry the team when Shaq would foul out or Shaq would, be limited because of his poor free throw shooting, or where Kobe and Shaq were just a 1-2 punch. Like I think the 2001 playoffs, Kobe averaged like 30 points a game. So you tell me what sidekick has that type of production. But this is the narrative that's been, put out for years to try to tarnish Kobe's legacy.
Yeah, when you talk about tarnish his legacy, I don't really see that though. Because I feel like Kobe's like the media really protected him. You know, I didn't really think they destroyed him like that.
What do you mean protecting him?
Because I remember Kobe and Iverson, like when the media used to compare them, like Iverson could have a game, shoot the ball like 40 times, score like 58 and lose. And Kobe can have the same game. The media will portray it like Iverson is a ball hawk and Kobe just didn't get enough help to get the win.
I don't know where that came from, bro, because all I've heard for years that Kobe is a ball hog.
Really?
That's all I heard. Oh, yeah.
More than Iverson? Bro, they used to cook Iverson, bro.
Well, I think what it was with AI, I mean, they both got criticized by the media. AI was my favorite player back in the 2000s. They used to destroy Iverson. I think more so because of his image and how he carried himself, and more of being like that street culture thug.
Yeah.
They used to destroy him, how he used to dress and stuff. That was more off the court. With Kobe, it was more that he didn't pass the ball, he didn't do this, he didn't do that. And the media, and you can see it even now, like they've tried to tarnish his legacy all the way up until he retired. And even when he after he retired, they still tarnished his legacy. So they used to despise Kobe, man. Like ever since that whole rape thing happened in Eagle, Colorado, bro, they've been trying to make LeBron as the poster boy of the NBA. So he wasn't. Go ahead.
I was trying to say I get what you mean.
Yeah. He said, let me look at some of these. Bruce Morrow said Iguodala was not dominant. I guess he's talking about the finals. He wasn't. I mean, he was just the guy that was playing defense on LeBron.
On LeBron, yeah.
And that's what Bubba was talking about what happened with Wiggins. If he somewhat shuts down Jason Tatum or plays good defense on him, then they could possibly give it to him. But I just don't see them doing that to Steph Curry, man. I really don't. He said Kobe wasn't the man. Shaq was. Yeah, it was Shaq's.
Yeah, Shaq was, yeah.
He was the man, but the problem is with this is the problem. When people just try to say I've never seen a partnership where one guy gets so shunned out. Like even with Magic and Kareem, you never hear people say, well, Kareem just carried Magic or Magic carried Kareem. You'll never hear that. But even though Kobe Bryant was averaging more numbers better than both those two, he gets the title. He was being carried. Now, if he was being carried so much, why did he end up with more championships than Shaquille O'Neal?
Great question.
I always ask that question to people. If Shaq carried Kobe so much, why did Kobe average? Why did Kobe have more championships when Shaq left, and Shaq only had one championship without Kobe? He had great players. He had Penny Hardaway in Orlando. You had Dwayne Wade in Miami. You had LeBron James in Cleveland.
Bro, he was too old.
And that's part of the problem. He never took care of his body. He didn't take basketball serious enough. So Shaq really, to be honest with you, Shaq could have been the greatest player of all time.
Oh yeah, even Kobe said that in an interview. He did say if he had the work ethic that he had, he'd probably be the greatest of all time.
Yeah, so it's like you really underachieved in your career. You didn't take advantage of your gifts and you got lazy and you wanted to, basically just, eat and just, what I'm saying, not take care of yourself. You know what I mean? So that really, he really could have been better than what he was, honestly, as scary as that is. You understand?
Yeah.
Like,
Yep.
he said, nah, Shaq was the man on that team. Shaq was on top early. Yeah, he was. The
Yeah.
meetings against Kobe, the Kobe changes. Yeah, that's what he changed his image. That's how he became somebody. Kobe was hated for years. But again, I'm saying championships. If me and you are teammates and the whole narrative is that I can't win without you, but not only do I win without you, I win more without you. That who needed more? Who needed who more? Because I don't know if you saw that interview between Kobe and Shaq. Did you see that sit down interview?
Yeah, I seen not the whole thing. I seen pieces of it.
Yeah. So, um, do you remember the part where he said Shaq he tore his house up when Kobe won his
When
fifth
Kobe
title?
won the fifth title. Yep. I saw that part.
Now, so he knew what that meant is because he said it was almost like a competitive thing. He wasn't supposed to win more championships than me. That was the nail in the coffin to show like who was really who.
Yeah.
He had more championships without the other guy because again the whole notion was Kobe could not win without Shaquille
Without
O'Neal.
Shaq. Right. And I remember even when he lost the first one to Boston, Shaq was at a party, doing that rap. Little Kobe couldn't do without me. I don't know if you saw that video.
Yeah, he was
Clowning him.
trolling.
Yep.
He's trolling him, come back and win 2 championships in a row, bro. Like you can't say nothing no more. That hurt his soul.
Right.
So, bro, again, you can twist it however you want to twist it, bro. If I got 5 championships to your 4, that means I won more. I was more accomplished, and not only that, I have a more accomplished career than you. If you look at all the title, if you look at the All NBA teams, All Star teams, all defensive teams, Kobe has more than Shaquille O'Neal, and they played the same amount of years. Kobe played 20 years, Shaq played 19. So you can't say, oh, Kobe played longer. So he has a more accomplished career than Shaquille O'Neal.
Yep.
I mean that's not even debate. But I mean, it is what it is. See some of these other comments. He said that Kobe's second Finals MVP should have gone to Artest
Wow.
because of that one shot he made tomorrow. That's why I should have went to Artest. See what we have a case of lowering the bar for one person and raising it for another. Like Kobe he has to, play 48 minutes. He has to hit every shot. He has to, make the right play every single time. And one of his teammates just have to, do their damn job and they get the Finals MVP. I mean, it's comical to me.
That's crazy.
This is what I'm talking about, man. This is what I'm talking about. Artest did not have a great series. Bruce Morrow, go back and look at Artest's numbers in that series, bro. He had the game 5 where he hit that shot for Kobe Bryant. He was not having like a great series. That whole series was Kobe Bryant, bro. It was not Ron Artest. Please stop. Sometimes I feel like it's a trolling.
Yeah, he definitely is.
You said Ron Artest, bro. That's trolling, man. You can't just give it off of one game. Let me ask you this question. So where do you place Larry Bird at?
Oh, wow. He's definitely top 10, but I would say on my list, he's probably sixth or he's probably fifth or sixth. He's probably I would say probably 6, because I don't have him in my top 5. Yeah, I'll say 6. Yeah, I have him at number 6. Yep.
Yeah, I'll probably put him at 7.
7.
I put him like at 7 right now. And it's
Who
close because
the other 2 over him?
Magic and Tim Duncan.
Oh, you put Tim over Larry.
I do, only because of the tenure. Because I think Larry could have been. What's crazy about him is he has 3 championships in 3 straight. He has 3 MVPs in 3 straight years.
Regular season MVPs. Yep. He
Yeah,
does.
he had MVPs in 3 in a row, more than Tim Duncan. But the fact that he only played 13 seasons to Tim Duncan's 20, and the fact that Tim Duncan had the Spurs, that's Tim Duncan's, like they ain't won nothing since Tim Duncan was there. Like they didn't win nothing before
Right,
he got
before you
there,
got
and
there.
they ain't win nothing after he got there. So what he means to that organization is very, very important, because if you look at Boston, their story franchise has the most championships in NBA history with the
Right.
Lakers. Spurs, they got 5 championships led by Tim Duncan. Like,
Yep. Boston had a winning culture before Larry got there.
yeah, he had a winning they had a winning culture.
And Tim Duncan established the winning culture in San Antonio.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Tim Duncan is not better than Bird, better defender, but no. So Bruce, Larry Bird, again, if we define what's better. What does that mean to you? Because if you bring up just the accomplishments, if we bring up the accomplishments, Tim Duncan is more accomplished than Larry Bird. More championships, more All NBA teams, more All Stars, more defensive teams, more All Defensive teams,
More finals MVPs.
more Finals MVPs. Larry got some on the MVP, regular season MVPs. But I mean, just the tenure that Tim Duncan had, right? I'm not talking about Bruce. I'm not talking about when Bird came there. I know they were bad when they came there. I'm talking about the franchise in general. They have 17 championships. They have 17 championships under that under that organization. Tim Duncan, they didn't have nothing in San Antonio. They had nothing to look in San Antonio. Am I lying?
And he won a championship in his second year.
In his second year, he won a championship. David Robinson, he wasn't winning anything. Greg Popovich was there. David Robinson was there. They weren't winning no championships. Tim Duncan gets there, they win the second year.
Yep.
So it's not crazy to put Tim Duncan over. You talking about this is the greatest power forward of all time.
Right. There's no debate.
Yeah, like I mean, I don't know what Bruce talking about. He's saying like it's a crime to rank Tim Duncan over Larry Bird. Ain't no crime. Now you could put Larry Bird over him if you want to, but that ain't no crime to rank Tim Duncan over Larry Bird. Now, of course, they both play different positions. Um, but as far as Tim Duncan at his position, he's the best power forward of all time. So how could you say that he can't be over Larry Bird, who's not even the greatest player at his position? That's LeBron James. Now, and I respect Larry, but I mean, please stop. Larry is higher than Tim just a tad. The stretch Bird had from that. He said, if you want to put him as a tad, that's cool, man. Like I said, that's fine. Like it's up to you. But the way Bruce acting like it's not even a question, bro. Like, come on, that's not even. That's not a question, bro. That's a conversation. Just he said Brian has nothing on man. All right, bro.
Bro, you trolling.
I'm telling you, I'm not a big LeBron fan. I'm really not, but I'm just like.
But sometimes you gotta come to his defense.
Yeah, you gotta come to his defense at some time because it's like he said he not even a top 10 player, bro. Come on. How about y'all jump in here then? How about y'all jump in here? I'm gonna go ahead and drop the link and let y'all come here.
I mean, LeBron has done pretty much a little bit of everything more than Larry. You want to talk about stats? You want to talk championships, Finals MVPs? He has everything over Larry. But I mean, Larry played in a short span. Was it 13 years? 12, 13 years? And LeBron has 19, so yeah. Larry's not the greatest small forward of all time.
I would put, you know what's I had Larry Bird over LeBron a couple years ago, but once he won that fourth championship, it was nothing I could really say that would put Larry over LeBron because it was already neck and neck as it was. When LeBron won that championship in 2020, you know what I'm saying? I asked about to put him over him.
Bird was a better scorer, shooter, clutch free throw shooter, better rebounder, passer.
Hold on.
What's up?
What's up, bro?
What's good, bro?
Hey, how you doing? How you guys doing?
Good.
It's what's good, man?
Hey, I saw Larry Bird play. I'm way older than you guys. So I can say that's why I'm saying Bird is better than Duncan. Okay. Duncan has not been clutch to me. And he choked in the Olympics when they had Iverson, Marbury, young LeBron, young Melo. Yeah. When USA team needed a clutch bucket, Duncan was nowhere to be found. And he was benched by Larry Brown. And the last few years, it was Ginobili and Tony Parker making all those clutch shots. So.
Okay, so let me ask you this question. So, because I need to be clear with you. So, are we talking Olympics when we're mixing that in with NBA basketball?
All of them. NBA, Olympics, all of them.
Okay, because Larry Bird wasn't the best player on that dream team.
Right. But Larry Bird made clutch shots in the NBA.
It was Michael. And that team had a lot of problems. You talking about with Duncan more than just Tim Duncan. They had a team that was dysfunctional, starting with Larry Brown, Stephon Marbury, Allen Iverson. That wasn't on Tim Duncan's shoulders.
Larry Bird didn't have a chance to play in the Olympics until he got old, because that's when it's in '92 they allowed professionals to play in USA.
No, I'm talking about the 2004 Dream Team. You said that Tim Duncan choked. My thing is,
Yeah,
you can't put the failures on that '04 team does not go on Tim Duncan's shoulders because
he was the best player.
they had a lot of problems other than Tim Duncan. It wasn't just him.
He was the best player.
Okay, but you can't say just because he's the best player, everything falls on him. They had a lot of other problems with that team. That team was dysfunctional. So I think you're nitpicking.
No, I'm not nitpicking. Ask all players, they're gonna say who's gonna take the last shots, Larry Bird or Tim Duncan.
Larry Bird, of course, but you're taking the best thing Larry Bird does and making that the argument. If you look at Tim Duncan's entire resume, what he's accomplished, he has accomplished more than Larry Bird. If you look at the Spurs organization, they have not won anything outside of Tim Duncan. Before and after they got him, he's argued if he doesn't lose that 2014 championship or 13 championships to LeBron, he would be 6-0.
Right.
The only player that would have the same amount of championships and losses would be Michael Jordan,
Yep.
the greatest player of all time.
So
Same amount of championships and losses
would
be Michael Jordan.
Tim Duncan played with
Same amount of championships and losses.
Tim Duncan played with the greatest player of another country.
Hey,
Stop.
Bill, you got to cut the background though, Bill.
Yeah. So Tim Duncan played the greatest with the greatest French player and the greatest Argentina player, right?
Okay, so let me ask you this question: what would Stephon Marbury, what would Tony Parker and Manu Ginobili be without Tim Duncan?
Without Tim Duncan, that's a great question.
Nowhere.
So you're
because
exactly
Tim Duncan
Go ahead.
We can say the same thing about Tim Duncan in the last couple years of his career. Without Tony Parker and Ginobili. And one of the championships, Tony Parker won the finals MVP because you guys mentioned how important it is. So, right?
Tim Duncan stirs the drinks. Tim Duncan's the best power forward. Everything goes between Tim Duncan. So Tony Parker and Manu Ginobili were not on the 1999 team. So what can you say about that? Tim Duncan won it when he was the man on the team. Tim Duncan won the finals MVP that year.
I don't really.
So what does Tony Parker and Ginobili have to do with that? Since you're saying that without Tim Duncan, what would they be? What would he be? Because he won without those two.
The championship of the 99 of the Spurs was really, I don't take it seriously because it was only 50 games.
Doesn't matter. He won.
They play against a short-handed, like short Knicks, and of course they're gonna dominate. They were playing against Marcus Camby and Kurt Thomas. Come on.
So let me get. I'm gonna let Bill go after this, but you're trying to take away Tim Duncan's championship all because you say it's a shortened season.
No, I'm not. He won 5 championships. I'm not.
Okay, but you said you
don't
take the 1999 one serious.
That's you can't do that. That's taking away his championship. The bottom line is he won a championship that year.
He did.
And he won something without Manu Ginobili and Tony Parker. He is the greatest power forward of all time. And
he is the greatest power forward.
So my thing is you there's nothing to really say that he can't be ranked over Larry Bird.
No, he's not.
You can put him over him. Go ahead, Will, because he watched the Lakers and the Celtics. You go ahead. Bill, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Go ahead.
So I've been watching basketball. Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so I've been watching basketball longer than all of you.
Yeah, go ahead.
I doubt it, but okay.
Okay, well, I'm 57 years old.
Okay, you win.
I've been watching basketball since I came out of my mother's womb.
Okay, you win.
And there's a huge delay here when I speak.
You gotta cut the background noise off.
How do I do that?
Or cut the Facebook one off. The Facebook.
Oh, hold on. Yeah, Mika. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, look, first of all, they're different. Larry Bird was a small forward. Duncan was a power forward. There is a difference between the positions, as we know, especially back in that time. If you look at the comparisons, I mean, Bird was clearly a better outside shooter. Obviously, that's not Duncan's game. But in the post, defense, rebounding, sheer dominance of a game, in my opinion, Tim Duncan was more effective and better than Bird. He was a more dominant player because Bird was an outside player and outside shooting was his thing. And the guy was amazing. He was incredible. But if I'm picking a team, if I'm building around a team for a player, I'm picking Tim Duncan over Bird. And if you look at the stats, all defensive first team, Tim Duncan had 8. Larry Bird had 0. So defense, remember, there's two ways to look at it. There's offense and defense. Offensively, I give the edge to Bird in shooting, but then he had no post-up game at all. Duncan was unguardable in the post, rebounding, defense, shot blocking. The guy was a force. He was a major force to deal with. Now, Bird was too from the outside, but I'm just saying from my perspective, what I saw, and I'm a diehard Lakers fan. I watched all the entire 80s series. I saw the Lakers win the title in 72. I think, to me, Tim Duncan was a more dominant player. Now, I'm not saying it's not by a lot, but I'm saying he's the greatest power forward ever. I put Bird at probably the second best small. I put a LeBron ahead of Bird in terms of small forwards. I think LeBron's the greatest small forward ever. There's debate amongst people about that, but if you go to Land of Basketball, just do the comparisons. LeBron's clearly superior, and he's dominated the game. He dominated the game way more than Bird ever did. And Bird was great. I'm not saying nothing from Bird. I love Bird. I hated the guy when he's against the Lakers, but I love the guy. So to me, Tim Duncan was more dominant. To say he's better, I mean, they had different skill sets, but I just know in terms of impacting a game, Tim Duncan had more impact on games than Bird did, and he accomplished more. 5 titles to 3. Like I said, 8 NBA all defensive first teams to 0. There's your answer right there. Bird on defense was not a great defender. He was okay. Duncan was a dominant defender. I mean, he slowed down Shaq in the playoffs. I mean, come on. He was one of the guys that could slow down Shaq, and no one could slow down Shaq. I mean, he couldn't stop Shaq, but I'm just saying he made it tough for Shaq. And Shaq, we know how dominant Shaq was. So that's just my opinion. That's all. So that's all I got.
So
good pick.
You're going back to stats. Like he has more championships than Bird. Bird was playing in an era where Magic was playing. Other greats were playing.
Yes.
And you said that Tim Duncan was dominant, but he never won back-to-back. And he spent years before he finally won again with Kawhi. And
Bird never won back-to-back either.
No. He never won back-to-back like he spent a couple years before he won.
Right, but back-to-back titles isn't a measure of how great a player was. It's a team.
You said he was dominant. You said he was dominant.
Yes, Tim Duncan was dominant. Absolutely.
How was he dominant?
Remember, he also went against the Lakers in that decade. The Lakers won 5 titles from 2000 to 2010. So he was going against Kobe and Shaq. Okay, so let's not forget that. They won his first title in 99. He had to go against Kobe and Shaq that whole decade. So it's not like
2010, but Shaq left in 2005.
Right, but Kobe still won 2 titles with Pau Gasol. So what I'm saying is you act like Duncan had no competition. He did have competition.
When Shaq was there, he couldn't guard Shaq. He was not even the one who was guarding Shaq.
He said slow down.
No, I said slow down. He could slow. I know he didn't guard him one-on-one. I'm just saying he in the post was a dominant force. And to me, back in that era, that was a more important position than an outside shooter like Larry Bird. That's all I'm saying. I'm saying now in today's basketball, Bird may have a more prominent role because he was a really good 3-point. Well, he wasn't by today's standards, he was like 30. What was he? What was Bird from three? Like 30.
39%, I think, from three.
No, he was not 39. No, he was not. He was less than that. He was
Wow.
Larry Bird.
Yeah,
37,
you
37, 37,
37.
37.
Yeah, 37, which is good, which is very good. But it doesn't compare to the 3-point shooters of today. That
He was not shooting a lot of threes like these guys shooting threes. And you said he doesn't have a post game. He had a post game, but he didn't need to go to the post because there was Parrish and McHale there.
True. Right, but he was not a good defender, and Duncan was a dominant defender.
Bird was not a good defender.
Well, how come Well, then why does Tim Duncan have 8 all-defensive first teams? And Bird has
so
0?
you go back to stats.
Well,
I'm just telling you. But I mean, what is he? Hold on. What is he supposed to? Oh, hold on, Bruce. Because
what else am I supposed to go by?
He's what's going on is, again, you gotta look at numbers. I don't look at stats for everything, but I do look at for some things. If you look at a person with 8 all-defensive teams, 15 all-defensive teams, first and second team, to a guy that's 0, that's a pretty clear indication that who's the better defensive player. Now, and also with the dominance, Tim Duncan won a championship every other year in the 2000s. He won one in 2003, 2005, and 2007. Right. Each year in that decade, the Spurs were a 50-win team. Before Tim Duncan got there, the Spurs have never won a championship. Think about this. When they had David Robinson, when they won the MVP, they had Greg Popovich, who's arguably one of the greatest coaches of all time, greatest 3 coaches. They never won anything until Tim Duncan got there. They didn't win anything. They didn't win anything until after Tim Duncan left.
Who was David Robinson playing with?
Bro, again, MVP. Again, the MVP. He had Sean Elliott. He had Avery Johnson.
He had some good players.
He had good players on that team.
Who was David Robinson playing against? Wasn't he playing against Olajuwon, who had really great players?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Phoenix Suns?
But why don't you give Tim Duncan that same respect when we said he played against Kobe and Shaquille O'Neal, who arguably is the greatest tag team in NBA history?
Who said I'm not giving him respect? I said he's not better than Larry Bird. He's the greatest power forward, and he's a top 10 player.
Okay,
he's not better than Larry Bird.
Okay, I disagree, but that's okay. No problem. I have no problem with. I love Larry Bird. Larry Bird's amazing. I mean, I've got no problem with it. I think if I'm picking a team and building players around it, a player, I'm picking Duncan over Bird.
I don't even think Tim Duncan is better than Olajuwon.
Well, Olajuwon was a center. Tim Duncan's a power forward. They're not the same. Okay. They're not the same.
But it's the same thing with Larry Bird and Tim Duncan.
I
different
agree.
Position too.
I always say it's different. It's difficult to compare people of different positions. When people say Michael Jordan's the greatest, I say no, he's not. He's the greatest 2-guard ever. You can't compare him to Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. They're totally different roles and responsibilities, different styles. You can compare them. But to say one's better, I think it's idiotic in a certain sense.
So my question is, okay, so this is what I ask Bruce again, because we're saying you can't compare, but when we say stuff like Tim Duncan is more accomplished than Larry Bird, you want to say they're bringing up stats. So how do we get this discussion put away without you saying you're just bringing up stats? The fact of the matter is Tim Duncan is more accomplished.
Absolutely. Right.
So what are we talking about?
Well, like I said, there's different, as you know, as a basketball player, there's different skills required to play the sport. There's passing, shooting, free throws. You know, it's there's all kinds of skills, and Bird was better at some skills than Duncan, and vice versa. So it's kind of a matter of opinion at some point when you say he's better. If you think Bird was more effective on the court and was better, I'm not going to freak out. I mean, like I said, I love Larry Bird. The guy was amazing. But I think, to me, Tim Duncan was more dominant in basketball than I witnessed.
He's not even a playmaker. Larry Bird was a playmaker.
Yeah, Tim Duncan was a very good passer. Actually, that's not true. He was a very good passer. Not as good as Bird, though. I agree.
Do you remember one pass that he did. That was really it's so fantastic.
I
Do
agree.
I
you
don't know
remember?
passing. I don't know. I didn't know passing was geared into dominance, but okay.
Really,
No, the
passing is not dominant.
passing
I thought
simple. Bird is a better passer.
Magic become a Hall of Famer or superstar because of passing.
Well, Magic can do a number. Well, Bill can tell you.
Magic was a better passer than Bird. Come on, that's obvious.
I'm not. Oh man, I'm not saying that Magic. Larry Bird is
No,
better passer.
he's
said
saying that.
passing.
He's saying that passing. That my thing is you're bringing up passing if that's the number one thing that
No, that's
circulates
not the number
dominance.
one thing. That's one of the many things.
Right.
So what's the main thing that you circulates around dominance? What is the main thing that circulates around dominance?
Larry Bird will walk on the court, and other players have to. Okay, we have to know where he is. Okay.
Any great
Tim
players
Duncan.
like that,
Tim
though.
Duncan.
Exactly. Any great players like that? What do you mean?
No, not any great players like that. They said James Harden is a great player. Nobody cares where he
Top
is.
10.
Sometimes.
Any top 10 player you have to worry about.
No.
Any top 10 player.
Yeah. Anyway.
Any player on this list you have to look and worry about, bro.
So for the shot to save your life, you're gonna give Tim Duncan the set shot.
Again,
off the glass,
you're trying to
Actually, worse. Yes, sometimes they did give it to Duncan because Duncan actually had a very good mid-range shot. He was a very good mid-range.
Really,
shot.
off the glass shot, the glass shot, right?
Well, that's what that was from the angle. He was off the glass, but his from the top of the key, from the
all
top
of his shots were off the glass.
From the top of the key, he had a very good jump shot.
How many free throws have you missed? As Tim Duncan missed?
I don't. How many is it? You mean his free throw? Bird had a better percentage on the free throw line for sure.
Yeah. Okay.
Duncan.
That's like asking who's a better rebounder because Tim Duncan was close to the basket. Like you're trying to angle the debate to suit your argument,
Larry
Bruce.
Bird was a great rebounder.
Larry Bird
It wasn't. He did.
But he's not compared to Tim.
Not to compare to Tim Duncan, because Tim
Yes,
Duncan's
because he's a power
forward.
forward.
Okay,
Right.
so you're trying to angle this discussion when you say stuff that Tim.
Larry Bird was playing with McHale and Parrish. They're getting all the rebounds.
Again, okay, that's what the point I'm making. When you say stuff like who was better free throw shooter, obviously it's Larry Bird because he's a small forward. So it's not. You're not saying anything. You're not saying that's his job to shoot the ball.
Dirk Nowitzki was a power forward. He was a great free throw shooter.
But you know power forwards, Bruce, and you know this. Do not usually not your best. You're not your best shooters. You're not the best shooters.
There's no. This argument has no correct answer. I mean, you can't. Everyone has opinions based on, on the statistics and what they saw, and I mean,
mine is not on statistics. It's eye test.
You can't go wrong with either guy.
Yeah, I don't. It doesn't matter who you pick. I'm just like confused when I say Tim Duncan, or when we say Tim Duncan. So it's like, oh, we losing the mind. Like that's not a bad discussion.
I never said
Tim Duncan, Larry Bird.
In my opinion.
Okay, so let me ask you, Bruce. So is Larry Bird better than LeBron James?
No.
Okay, thank you. Because if you said yes, I'd be like, okay, come on.
I said that in the comments.
It's ridiculous.
I said that in the comments.
Yeah, I know. That's good.
LeBron James is a better defender. He's a better passer to me than Larry Bird.
I just look at positions. I just look at positions, and I have my 5 of the positions that I think are the best ever. And then but trying to compare like Michael Jordan to Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is dumb because they were both extremely dominant and. Yes, they were. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was unguardable.
Kareem spent years without going to the playoff until Magic showed up.
Doesn't matter. He has 6 championships. 6
because of Magic.
Most points ever scored, and he had a shot that no one could guard.
Yeah, because he played a long time. That's why he has the most points.
Okay, but he still has 6 titles and 6 MVPs.
Because of Magic.
No. He got it in. What do you mean, Milwaukee with Oscar Robertson? He won his first title and his.
You said he has 6, so he reached the 6 because of Magic.
And Magic only has champions because of Kareem.
No,
so you could argue it goes both ways.
No,
it goes both ways.
Did Kareem play in the finals when Magic was overseas?
That's like saying only reason Jordan. I mean, Jordan only has titles because of Pippen. I mean, come on.
Exactly. That's
my God. That's
no, that's not the same thing. That's
I'm
not the
saying this
same
though.
thing. That's
Yes,
not
it
the same
is.
thing. No,
It is too.
that's not the same
Can I
thing.
say? Can I say this though?
It's a team
Hey,
game.
go
That's
ahead,
not
You
the
go
don't
ahead,
same
win by
Bubba.
thing.
yourself.
Go ahead,
But
Bubba. Go ahead.
Bruce, Magic lost the championship to Michael in '91. Kareem was not playing. How about that?
Sure
What has
did.
to do with Kareem
Nah,
having
you
six?
said Kareem won championships because of Magic,
Okay. What has to
and
do with
and I'm
Magic
asking,
losing in '91?
and
I
I'm
Yeah,
don't
asking
because
know.
he had
because
Vlade
Kareem
in
didn't
center.
play.
I don't see the point. I don't see the
No,
connection.
I'm asking because Kareem didn't play. So you're saying Magic only won championships. You said Kareem only won championships because of Magic. Now Kareem didn't play, Magic lost. So what's your argument on that one?
What wasn't James Worthy hurt and Vlade Divac, or young Vlade Divac? So what has to do with Kareem? I don't get it.
Vlade Divac, the same guy they traded for Kobe Bryant. His point is basically that you can't give all the credit to Magic and not give any credit to
I'm
Kareem.
not giving all the credit to Magic.
Who,
I'm just saying that Kareem is not better than Jordan. That's it.
I mean,
Like I said, you're comparing a center to a point guard, which is kind of illogical in a certain way.
If I'm starting a team, I'm not picking Kareem over
See, I
Jordan.
disagree. I'd always pick Kareem in his prime. Yeah,
He was in his prime when the Lakers were missing playoffs, multiple seasons, right?
listen, the Lakers won 5. They went to 9
You
finals
see,
and
you
won
go back to
5
stats.
titles with
You go
Kareem.
back to
So
stats.
no,
Here you go.
they didn't miss the playoffs with Kareem. You're wrong.
Did he not miss the playoff with playing? Really?
No. Kareem
Really?
Abdul-Jabbar, they went to 9 NBA finals and won 5 of them in his tenure at the Lakers.
Wait, you said the Lakers did not miss the playoff with Kareem.
When did they
Is
miss
that
the
what you said?
playoffs with Kareem? Name the year.
Remember when they missed the playoff and they had the chance to pick Magic? Remember that?
You mean before Magic came?
Oh, yeah.
They went to the conference finals the year before and lost
No.
without Magic.
Okay, go. Okay, you like stats? Go back to the stats and see.
So 70, what year though? 77? What does that mean though? That's not a knock on Kareem.
You said he never missed the playoff. You said he
Jordan
never
and the
missed
Bulls
playoff with
missed the
Curry.
playoffs too before Pippen got there. So what does that mean?
What? They missed the playoff with? No, he never
Nah,
missed the playoff before
they
he
didn't
even
miss the
got there.
playoffs.
What?
I thought they missed the playoffs 1 year when he first got to the Bulls.
No.
I think that was his second year when he
that's
got
irrelevant.
hurt.
It's a team. Who cares?
No.
I'm
He
saying
never missed the playoff before. He did not go past the first round. That's why you have to say. Don't say he missed the playoff. No.
Okay, well, I'm wrong there. So the point is, accomplishment-wise, Kareem was just as dominant as Jordan. So
no.
Accomplishment wise, you can put Kareem's resume up against anybody's.
Yep.
Like literally. And I think it's not a bad take to put Kareem as a GOAT. If you want to put him there,
no,
it's not a bad take.
I go by position. I don't go by like I said, it's position. I think Kareem's the best overall center ever. Jordan's the best two guard ever. LeBron's the best small forward. Tim Duncan's the best power forward. That's how I and the best two guard is Jordan, obviously. That's
Shaq will dominate Kareem.
Who would?
What?
Shaq will dominate Kareem. Prime Shaq will dominate Kareem.
See, the problem, Bruce, with Shaq is he didn't dominate long enough. He dominated for his time in the early 2000s, and that was it. He didn't play. He didn't take care of his body, and that's what makes him go down in the all-time great rankings list.
That's what makes it go down. Yes, but in terms of skills and shooting, no, Kareem's better. The skyhook was unguardable.
Chamberlain will dominate Kareem. Come on.
Kareem was 70-something% for the free throw line. Shaq was barely 50%.
Yeah, okay. See, you go back to free throws. When I went to free throws,
I'm looking at every single every single stat there is.
Oh, okay. See, everybody knows stats. You go back to stats. Okay. See.
Well, Jabbar's got 6 titles. Shaq had 4.
Here we go. See, here you go. Championships. Here you go.
Those aren't stats. Those aren't stats. Bruce, stats are numbers that you see in the game. Those aren't stats. Those are accomplishments. When you say championships and finals,
they're accomplishments, dude.
What are you talking about? Stats?
It's written in stone.
Stats, accomplishments. You go back to numbers. Here you go.
Well, I'm just telling you these are what they produced on the court. So you like it or not, that's the facts.
Kareem played.
I guess you don't like facts very much. Was that a problem?
Facts. You said that Kareem didn't miss a playoff when in his
All
prime.
defensive teams, Jabbar 11, Shaq 3.
Here you go, see? Here you go.
Right. Who was a better defender? Jabbar was actually a better defender than Shaq.
Here you go.
He was more mobile. He was faster on his feet. His footwork was better. His hook shot was unbelievable.
Wait. I never saw Kareem did what Shaq was doing in Orlando. Pick up the ball and cross the court.
What do you mean? Shaq in Orlando was overrated.
What?
He got destroyed in the finals. Come on. Blocks leader, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, 4 different seasons he was the blocks leader. Shaq has 0. Rebounds leader, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar over Shaq. Scoring leader, 2-2. All defensive teams, Kareem 11, Shaq 3. All defensive first team, Jabbar 5, Shaq 0. So come on, man. Kareem's a more skilled basketball player than Shaq. Shaq was a brute force and dominant because of his size, but he was not more skilled than Kareem. Not even close. I mean, come on.
But Kareem cannot guard Shaq. That's what I'm going to say.
Shaq can't guard Kareem either. He does a hook shot right over him.
Yeah.
Can't stop Kareem. No one could stop Kareem's shot. Come on. Give me a break. Steals per game, Kareem 1, Shaq 0.9, Shaq 0.6. I mean, just every single stat he's better in. Trying to see
Let me ask Bill. Bill, let me ask you this question since we got on the screen because they're trying to ask what the topic is. If Steph Curry wins a championship this season, does that put him as a top 10 player of all time?
I mean, I see the top 10 thing I don't like because I want to go by position. So where does it put him with point guards of all time? It puts him near the top. I still say Magic Johnson's the greatest point guard ever.
Right.
Even if he wins another title, I still say I'll take Magic. I take Magic over Curry.
I would too.
That's just me though, because he's 6'9". His eyes on the back of his head is the best passer I've ever seen. His shots got better every year. There was something about him that there's a reason they call him Magic, in my opinion. Even though I'm biased, I'm a Lakers fan, but I do love the Warriors. I don't put him up there with Magic, but I put him up at the top for sure. I mean, who else do you put him with? Point guard.
Yeah, I think Magic's number 1. And then I think Steph really is number 2 right now. And then Isaiah Thomas and then Jason Kidd. If he wins this title this year, I would, and I can rank top 10 players like together. I would probably put him at number 10.
You got Oscar Robertson, Isaiah Thomas, Jason Kidd. You got Cousy back in the old school. Gary Payton was great. There's a bunch of guys. I mean, it's hard to but I still put Magic at the top. I would say Curry's probably I mean, it's arguable, but like I said, here we go again. What are we going to go by? If we don't use stats, what do we go by? What you saw in your opinion? I mean, stats they're there for a reason.
I don't go by stats because I've seen so many games where.
So tell me about your opinion of Bob. What about Bob Cousy for the Celtics? What do you know about Bob Cousy, the point guard for the Celtics? It was 9 championships.
It was a different NBA. He was playing with. But
my point is, if you never saw him play, how would you make a comparison? You would go to statistics first. It's a starting point. It's not the only thing to go by, but it helps to analyze.
Yeah.
So this notion that Shaq was so much better than Kareem, no, he wasn't. Sorry,
I didn't say he was so much better. I said that Shaq will dominate.
Yeah. Nope, Kareem. I disagree. He would not dominate. Kareem would block his shots. Kareem was taller than Shaq, actually.
Really?
Yeah, he was 7'2".
He's
7'2". He had longer arms. He had way longer arms.
Is Kareem gonna take a charge against Shaq?
Sure, he could.
His glasses will get fogged, man. Come on.
Whatever. I mean, say what you want. Hey, I'm a diehard Lakers fan. I love both of them, but I still think Shaq's a better center overall. I mean, sorry, Kareem.
Thank you.
No, I'm getting confused. No, I would take Kareem over Shaq, though. Sorry.
That's not a bad pick.
Shaq was always out of shape. He was lethargic on the court. He couldn't play a lot of minutes.
For somebody out of shape, he was dominant, huh?
He sucked at the free throw line.
Yeah.
He had some problems. I mean, his footwork was good for how big he was. I'll give him that. And and in close, he could dominate. But other than that, he had no outside presence at all of any kind. Kareem skyhook, he could do that thing from 15, 16.
Outside presence, like Larry Bird against Duncan. Okay, yeah. Yeah.
Well, wait a minute. So, what is your opinion on Steph Curry top 10?
Who's on your top 10? So I
My
didn't
top
think
10.
about that.
My top 10 is Mike, Kareem, Kobe, LeBron, Magic, Tim Duncan, Larry Bird,
I know, but
Hakeem,
I think this is also
Shaq.
a product of you being younger too. Like if you saw Jerry West play or Elgin Baylor was Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant before Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant. He scored 70 points in one game.
Yeah.
The dude was
Yeah.
unreal.
Devin Booker scored 70 points too. So
Devin Booker's a great player too.
yeah. Nah, Devin Booker is overrated to me.
I agree though. No, I agree to that with that. But he's still a very, very good player. But Elgin Baylor was ridiculous. So
they call everybody superstar. Jason Tatum is overrated to me. I think Jalen Brown is the better player.
Yeah, we can agree on that. I made a video on that. Jimmy Butler's a better player. I made the video on that.
He's not consistent enough.
And he said something today. I'm like, oh my God, the Celtics are in trouble.
Oh, they're toast.
Yeah, they're done.
They're going down in 6.
He said, "Oh, I'm so excited to be in the finals. I'm looking everywhere. I'm looking at the banners. I'm like,
I know. I saw that. Yeah, they're in trouble. Yeah, that's because he's his first time there. He's overwhelmed.
So
yeah.
Okay.
So I'm looking.
To me, Jalen Brown is better than Jason Tatum. I don't know. Maybe a lot of people I see they are pushing Jason Tatum on people. Superstar. I'm like, where is the superstar? I don't see it. Okay.
Well, if Boston wins the finals and he gets Finals MVP, that will elevate him.
Yeah.
Not going to. They're not going to win though.
It's not that good to me, but okay.
Well, what about Steve Nash? He had 2 MVPs as a point guard. I thought he was good, but I kind of thought he was overrated too, actually.
Yeah.
He got those MVPs because of passing.
Oh yeah, absolutely. What about Chris Paul or Jason Kidd for point guards?
Chris Paul is better than Steve Nash to me.
I forgot John Stockton.
I got Stockton in my top 5 for sure. Yeah, Stockton was amazing.
Yes, I got Stockton.
He was a dirty player.
Still a great point guard.
Yeah.
That was the 90s was a dirty era. A lot of elbowing.
He was one of the dirtiest players, and
that's what about Garrett? What about the
glove? Chris Paul's one of the dirtiest players. You pick him up, he's the dirtiest as they come.
What about Gary Payton?
The
glove.
He's a great talker.
Allen Iverson.
Great trash talker.
Allen Iverson,
he was great. He was good.
He was great greater off the court than on the court.
He was more of a 2 guard.
What does that even mean?
He's more of a 2 guard.
He had more of an impact on the culture than on the court. That's to me, in my opinion.
But doesn't that tie into each other though?
No.
So do you agree that Magic's the best point guard ever? Point guard.
What is a point guard supposed to do? Let me see what's your answer, and I'll let you know.
Well, their primary, in my opinion, their primary purpose is to distribute the ball, set people up, run the set plays. They're kind of like the general, in a sense, a strategic general on the court with the ball. So passing, setting guys up, and obviously in scoring, but that's not their primary focus. 2 guard they're the shooting guard, so their primary focus is to score and shoot. Like this,
So we cannot say Steph Curry is the best point guard because he doesn't do that much.
He does a lot. He sets a lot of people.
Wait,
up.
time out. Because Tim, okay, when we say point guard with Steph Curry, that's what he's listed as, a point guard. All these guys are combo guards, but it doesn't change what the title is. He's a point guard. He's going to be looked at as a point guard when it's all said and done.
Well, and because of the Warriors and how the basketball's changed the last 10 years, it has gone to kind of a positionless sport in a sense. Where it wasn't in the 80s, everyone had a position and it was defined and that was it. And like now it's like, you got guys playing everything, like centers that are shooting threes and spreading the floor, and it's a different league.
Right.
It's a different league than it was back in the day.
I guess Magic is right now.
I think Magic, to me, in my opinion, I'm not, other people may argue. I mean, the guy was unbelievable.
But he could not shoot.
Shot got better.
Point guards are not supposed to shoot.
His shot got better though. He was decent. He had a decent mid-range jumper. Wasn't great, but that's not a point guard's job though.
All right.
To be the shooter. That's not their primary job. Now they should be able to shoot.
Yeah, somebody could say Steph is not a great playmaker.
What?
I think he's a very good playmaker, actually.
If you watch the
not
Warriors,
compared to
you'll see
Magic,
how many
though.
plays, man.
No, not compared to Magic. I agree, but it's different his style because he runs so much and moves so much. He makes plays by his movement without the ball. People don't realize that. That's what he's doing. You can't guard the Warriors. They play such. To me, it's the most beautiful basketball I've ever seen because they play perfect. Whoever's open gets the ball. It's completely unselfish. They move without the ball, with the ball. They cut. They're constantly moving. It's extremely difficult to defend.
I see the Warriors play a lot of triangle, and some of the Ginobili play I used to see on the Spurs. I see Steph Curry.
Well, remember, Steve Kerr was under Popovich and Phil Jackson.
Phil Jackson, right?
So he did.
All they did was take the Spurs offense and made it more exciting to watch in Golden State. That's all they did.
Giving the ball to Draymond Green. I used to see the Bulls do that with Rodman and Scottie Pippen. On the post, and then so I used to see that.
Yeah, but they move a lot more. They move more without the ball though than any team I've ever seen.
Boston's gonna have trouble.
They're not standing around with ISO ball.
Right.
If y'all look at Boston, who they face when they faced Milwaukee, Brooklyn, and Miami, they didn't have to deal with all that movement without the ball. They got to run and chase people off screens against Golden State.
They're gonna have to chase them for 48 minutes. That's why they're not. That's why I'm predicting the Warriors are going to win the series because the Warriors have just too much offensive firepower, and the way they play is very difficult to defend.
Brooklyn was not really a team, so Steve Nash is not a good. Steve Nash can't coach. I'm sorry.
No, I know. I agree. Yeah, he's bad.
We agree with you on that.
He's terrible.
He's trash.
He's trash.
He's trash.
That was bad. When they hired him, I'm like, what? Why are they giving this clown I mean, he's proven nothing.
Nothing.
There's a lot of other better coaches they could have got. I think
no adjustments. Just give the ball to Kevin Durant.
I know.
And then what?
Just play ISO ball. Give it to Kyrie or Durant. Watch them do their thing. We'll win.
Yeah, they didn't take Kevin Durant off the ball. They didn't free him up. They just kept letting him dribble the ball off the court, and they just kept doubling off of screens. I'm like, this dude's an idiot.
That's what we just said. No adjustments.
No adjustments at all. It was terrible.
Yeah, because of that game, I hear, Jason Tatum is a great defender. What? It was what?
When did that even become? That became a topic. Like, I didn't think Jason Tatum, like, he become this great defender. Like, he was never ever named a great defender.
He's not a great defender. He's tall though, and he's got length, which helps, but he's not a great defender.
Jimmy Butler was cooking that whole team by himself, and I'm like, where's the defense?
On one leg.
When they face the Warriors, it's a whole
on one leg.
Now the Warriors are going to torch them. They got 4 guys that can get you 30 points on any night. So, I mean, come on. Good luck.
I just hope the Warriors are not overconfident. I'm picking them to win, but they cannot be overconfident.
You know what's funny? I don't think they're overconfident. I think people that like basketball and are fans of theirs, like I'm overconfident for them, but I think they're going into this. They know they have to win. They want to win this because they want to show we can win without Durant, right? The fact they were out for 2 years. They had the worst record of the NBA that one year when Durant and Klay got injured. They're highly motivated to win this. I think they're more motivated than Boston on some level, and I think their experience is going to show.
I would not be super.
It's a more talented team, period. I mean, talking about Boston's defense. Boston's defense is good. People forgot the Warriors play pretty good defense too, and they have way better offense. So
they were top 5 in defensive efficiency this year. They got defenders, and with GP coming back, GP and Wiggins are going to be key factors in this series.
Wiggins is going to be huge. And don't forget, Iguodala is going to be back.
Yeah.
Iguodala needs to
No, I don't
retire.
think Iguodala has the quickness that he once had.
Well, they said they're all well. That's true, but he can still guard in the post.
Yeah, he uses craftiness more than his
He's crafty.
quickness. He's
got
crafty, a
lot of
crafty
steals.
defender.
He's
Yeah.
very clever.
This should be his last year. It's over.
I think so.
Yeah,
I think it probably will be if they win it,
Probably.
especially
Might as well get a ring.
get his 4th ring.
Then he can retire. And Draymond and Kevin Looney too can guard in the post too.
Oh, absolutely.
Yep.
Looney's great. Looney's having a really good playoff.
But I don't really think Looney's gonna dominate like he was dominating in the Memphis and Dallas series because they didn't really have centers there. You know, with Boston they got Robert Williams there.
Yeah, is he
Which
playing?
He gets a lot of boards.
I'm sorry. I don't think Robert Williams is that good. Maybe I'm
Now
wrong.
I'm talking about he's gonna get a lot of boards than Looney.
Nah.
Yeah.
Is he healthy though? What's his status?
He's been in and out the lineup, so
He's
I think
gonna be day to day. So
he's probably going to play.
Yeah.
But I don't know how effective he'll be. I'm still. No, I agree though. Williams will get some of the rebounds also, but I think Looney's a really good rebounder though. For a guy who's 6'9", 6'10".
yeah. Well,
he's playing like he's playing for a new contract.
Oh yeah, Looney's playing out of his mind right. He's hustling so hard.
anyway, all I hear-
says Celtics is 7.
all I hear is that Marcus Smart is gonna lock down Curry. So
nah, absolutely not.
Marcus Smart's going to lock down Curry? No one locks down Curry.
No one does.
Curry will take him off the dribble and cross him over, no problem.
It's too much movement.
Curry has been playing against Marcus Smart for years, right? So
Marcus
I don't know.
Smart is going to be running out of gas by the end of the third quarter. He'll be dead trying to run with Curry. No one can.
All them screens, and then you didn't even mention Jordan Poole.
I know. They got 4 guys that can get you 30 on any night. Poole, Curry, Thompson, Poole, and Wiggins. Those guys are capable of getting you 30 points. At least 20 to 25 easily.
Jordan Poole needs to go on the Curry diet to get some muscles. Okay.
Yeah, he's too skinny.
Yeah, that's true. He's pretty skinny, but I'm just saying his outside jump shot and his mid-range are very, very good. I think he's like almost 40% from 3.
But what annoys me about Poole is just make the simple layup. You don't have to do the Spider-Man moves and
up and under.
The zigzag thing.
He likes that.
Keep it simple.
And I feel like Klay has to knock down shots because his jumper it's not been what it used to be.
It's getting better. But I think
it's getting better.
Coming back.
If you look when he first came back till now, the last 2.5 months, he's getting progressively better. He's got what do you get the last game 36 to close out.
Yep. So
I mean, it's coming along. It's not quite there, but I think he's like at least 80% there.
According to Skip Bayless, he's the best player in Game 6 and 7. Right?
I mean, they call him Game 6 Klay.
Yeah, Game 6.
There was no Game 7.
Right, there was no Game 7.
No Game 7.
In Game 6, he got 30 something. No. Well, it's Game 5 against Dallas. He got 34, I think, to close out the game.
Yep.
Yeah. That nickname was back when he had OKC and they hit all them threes.
Yeah, he had 46 in Game 6.
Right.
I mean, it's deserved. It's deserved.
All right, guys, I'm gonna have to go. I have to go working early in the morning.
All right, take it easy.
All right, man. Good talking.
Take it easy.
I'll be back one day.
Yeah, come back anytime.
All right.
All right. But yeah, I got a couple more minutes, fellas, and I'm gonna shut the live down myself.
Yeah, I gotta take off. I gotta get up. All right, good talking to you guys, man.
All right, man. Appreciate you coming.
I appreciate
Take it easy, man. See ya.
See ya.
So that was a couple hours, man. Tuning Sports says Celtics in 7. You probably the only person in that stream believe that, brother. If the Warriors play at least even 80% of how they meant, they gonna smash them in 6 games. But each is his own. Any last words, Bubba?
On topic or off topic?
I mean, both. I don't care. Just last second thoughts. I don't know.
Last second thoughts. I'd say for Boston to win this series, they really have to. I mean, like the other people said, Bill said, you can't really shut down Steph Curry. You can contain him, but you can't really shut him down because of his movement. Like his movement without the ball. Like Marcus Smart is, Marcus Smart has to really. He should be asleep by now, because he gonna need the energy for tomorrow. So,
Exactly.
and not only
Yeah.
him, Grant Williams, Derek White. I mean, he's not a good defender, but they'll probably put him on him to give him a different look. So,
Yeah. Oh, we got a couple more Boston fans in here. Andres said Boston number one defense 107. Says they're going to be able to hold their own on the boards. See, that's what people think, and I thought the same thing before the Miami series. But when I saw them play against Miami, my thoughts changed because all what happened was Miami got over. Boston basically outlasted Miami. That's not a better team than Golden State. Barely lost to that team with one player on one leg, right? So you go to against this Golden State team, you make mistakes that you're not gonna get away with Boston. I mean, with Golden State, with Miami.
with Miami, yep.
Yeah, you're not gonna get away with the mistakes. So that defensive talk, I didn't see that at all in that Miami series. So if you didn't show it against Miami, uh, you're not gonna do that against Golden State. Let me look at some of these other things. Tuning Sports Boston is 7.
To be honest, their defense was really against Brooklyn when they
Yeah, that was all their defense was
when
against
they
Brooklyn.
when they completely neutralized Kevin Durant.
That's when all the talks was that Jason Tatum's such a great defensive player. They did not stop Giannis Antetokounmpo. They did not. Go
I
back and
mean,
look at the numbers he put up.
he put up great numbers, but they limited his efficiency. Giannis is he's he's normally in the 50. He's shooting 50% from the field, but they was able to reduce his efficiency. But he was getting his numbers still. So
How much he shot? Like 47% from the field.
yeah, right. 46,
40.
47. Yep. The
So
whole
that's not
series.
enough of a drop off to me to show that you've been down. Like, because you gotta look at the team with the contributions that Milwaukee did not give to Giannis Antetokounmpo. He literally was still easily the best player on the court.
Absolutely.
So it's like you didn't really stop anything. So the only time you really did anything was against the Brooklyn series, which like our man Bruce just said was not even a real team. So it's like who did you stop? You got torched by Jimmy Butler in the last series when it was just him by himself. You nearly beat him by himself. You're not going into Golden State with that defense and winning anything.
Nah.
Full shot for YT said. I read something online. I think Boston 7 as well. I don't. It says well. I don't
I
like
don't
them.
even like them.
I just don't see where this confidence in Boston is coming from, bro. I think it's coming more from whatchamacallit. They have size. Yes, they do have size.
Yep.
But I saw Jason Tatum not be dominated in any of the series. I saw a lot of games where they're very, very like inconsistent. And I look at a Golden State team that just has way more weapons. Like you just said, you can get 30 with Steph, Andrew Wiggins, Klay Thompson, or Jordan Poole. That's just too much offensive firepower. Then you got defense on the other side, and experience and great coaching. I mean, it's a lot to overcome, but we'll have to see what game one brings. Because I'll be back on here tomorrow. And I'll be making sure to open the lines for people to come in. But anything last you want to say, Bubba?
Nah.
Okay. All right, y'all. Well, that concludes tonight's show. We were on for about 2 hours and 5 minutes, a little longer than we expected. But hey, It's always great having guests on the show. Any of y'all who want to come on here, so I know it's a few of y'all, you know what I'm saying? Epic Plays and Jordan Smith and Tuning Sports, y'all came on before. Y'all don't feel free to come on again. Feel free to share your thoughts and what y'all feel about Smooth Shot 4YT. You've been on here for quite some time, come in anytime, bro.
Come chop it up.
Chop it up sometime, bro. Y'all cool. Y'all can come in here. I don't care about disagreements. Welcome all types of debates. So you know what I'm saying. But that concludes the show. Continue to like, share, subscribe the podcast to all your friends. We appreciate y'all coming on with the respect, saying pull up a seat, pull up a chair, pull up. Peace. Out here like swim well.